Hi YouTubers, Happy New Year. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to address the real truth about cryptic pregnancy and how illusions and delusions are webbed right in there with it, because it's such an emotional issue, and it's such, for the women experiencing it, it's extremely emotional and it's very real. So illusion and delusion come hand in hand with that when you are when you're looking for answers for something you don't have any answers to. And so before I start, I want to say with sincere intentions that this video is not intended to invalidate or devalue any one person's experience with pregnancy or cryptic pregnancy. It is with the utmost respect that I rigorously explore cryptic pregnancy as a whole and apply critical thinking to aspects very vaguely explained. And when I say explained, I mean by websites, cryptic pregnancy support groups, and just in general, the cryptic pregnancy information that's going around in the community. These subjects are explained to sound true, but they're not giving you the full picture. And if you are easily offended by this subject matter, I suggest that you do not watch this. Thank you. Okay, so several sources go on to explain the signs and symptoms of a cryptic pregnancy that are like a standard pregnancy. So it's just your general array of pregnancy symptoms that are like cryptic pregnancy. Those are the same symptoms, supposedly they say. And then they give you a list of signs and symptoms that can occur during a cryptic pregnancy that are not likely to occur during your standard pregnancy. Now, I'm not here to argue negative blood tests or negative urine tests, and I'm not here to argue having a period or your menstrual cycle during a pregnancy, because those are two things that you have to get, those are, the subject is too, it's all based upon your experience. So, but I will address the inconsistency with informational science and DNA and gene production when they claim that pregnancy symptoms may come and go during periods. From my understanding and from continued study of this content, they say that they give a theory that this is a time when the baby stops growing. And this is said to possibly occur throughout the pregnancy, and the main reason these pregnancies last typically 22 months longer. It says this, I find that this contradicts everything we know to be true about how DNA and genes are produced. There's nothing about the science and informational science or anything about the DNA science that supports that a baby can literally stop growing and continue to survive. In a standard pregnancy, a very slow growing baby is labeled as high risk because this is a major sign something is not right. The mother is closely monitored and tests are performed to make sure both baby and mom are safe. To assume or presume that because you are experiencing what is labeled as a cryptic pregnancy, that somehow that changes the way DNA and genes are produced is delusional at best. And then they also explain the bleeding that's experienced during a cryptic pregnancy. They explain it as vague as possible to fit in as many women experiences as possible. I mean, they list like every way you could ever have a period. Well, everybody's experienced some kind of period like that at one point in time. And if you are convinced or even exploring the idea that you might be pregnant, just having those thoughts alone can affect your period. Many women claim in the Cryptic Pregnancy Community and websites that the medical field will refuse to help you if you think you are pregnant, but have a negative blood test, urine test, or ultrasound. These are fear-inducing statements and are put there to play upon your vulnerability and emotions. Because you are looking for answers about such a sensitive subject matter, it's very easy to scare you into thinking something. So when you include fear-inducing statements such as the medical community will not help you, you will never get confirmation of your pregnancy, these are things to put you in a fearful state and make you more willing to accept whatever is being presented at you, meaning cryptic pregnancy, make you more willing to accept that you are cryptically pregnant when you are not. So this is just something I found throughout the websites, throughout the support groups, throughout the Cryptic Pregnancy Community. They all talk about how you will not get any support from the medical community, which is detrimental to your emotional, physical health. I mean, you think that you're alone in this situation, it becomes very bleak and dark very quickly, because then you think, well, now I have to deliver at home. And now I'm in charge of delivering the baby. And what if something goes wrong? It creates a whole nother problem with your life. Now you think you're cryptically pregnant and you think that you're going to have to give birth at home. When the whole reason why they brought it up to you in the first place was just to get you to start thinking that way and start getting you to be very negative and fearful. They're fear-inducing statements for a reason. Okay, next subject, a Doppler. Using a Doppler is not intended to confirm a viable pregnancy. That's not what its purpose is. That's not why it was made. The purpose of a Doppler is to listen to a heartbeat of a baby from a pregnancy that has been confirmed as viable. So we're talking about, there's normal pregnancies where they can't hear the heartbeat until they're almost like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 weeks pregnant. There's been cases of normal pregnancies or standard pregnancies where women couldn't find the heartbeat on the Doppler until they were almost 22 weeks pregnant. So using a Doppler to confirm a viable pregnancy or to find a fetal heartbeat before confirmation, medical confirmation has been produced, it doesn't give you reliable results. So when you first put a Doppler onto you, it's always going to start at 130 or 125 because that's what it's set as. That's where inside of the Doppler itself there's an algorithm, and the algorithm is set to start at the heartbeat at 125, 130, 135. So it's starting off at that rhythm because it's hoping that it's going to find a heartbeat that catches up to that pace. Now, when you put the Doppler on you and you're looking for a fetal heartbeat, and you see that it starts at 135 and then it goes down to 115 and then down to 100 and then back up to 115 and then back down to 100, it's literally picking up your heartbeat because it's dropping. Now, when you put a Doppler on you and you are in fact pregnant, it'll start off at 135 and then all of a sudden it's at 146 and then all of a sudden it's at 160 and then it'll stay in that range pretty quickly because it's picking up a fetal heart rate. Now, when you are looking for a fetal heart rate during a cryptic pregnancy, you will find that you don't get anything above 145. 150, and it never stays there for very long. If you do get it to go up to 150 on your Doppler and you're reading 150, it'll stay like that for maybe a few seconds before it starts to drop down. And that's because it's looking for a heart rate that's within that limit. So if it's not finding a heart rate that's within the 130 to 160 range, it's going to start falling. And then it's going to try to search for it again, and then it's going to start falling. And then it's going to start searching for it again, and then it's going to start falling. The only way you know you have a for sure fetal heart rate is when it stays at 130 to 160 consistently for at least 5 minutes, I would say. I mean, even 2 minutes would be sufficient. But it sounds like... And... Hold on, Leo. And... the only way to confirm that it is in fact a fetal heart rate versus your heart rate is to manually count it. So you would hold it to wherever you have it and you think, okay, this is the heartbeat, and then you manually count it for 30 seconds and then times that by 2, or you count it for the full minute, and then that'll give you the heart rate. So if you're getting a heart rate that's anywhere from 70 to 100, that's your heart rate. Even if you're getting up to 120, that could still be your own heart rate. Doesn't mean it's a baby's heart rate. So using a Doppler to confirm pregnancy is unreliable. Using a Doppler to confirm a cryptic pregnancy is even more unreliable. Because you're not trained, you don't know what sounds and how to recognize what sounds are what and how to navigate your way through the organs. So you could be thinking you're listening to a baby swim away when it's actually your intestines moving water or moving air, or your stomach is digesting, and that's what you're hearing. You're not hearing a baby swim away, you're hearing your digestive system. So having practice, and that the only way to have practice is to do work in that area, or because you need to be able to touch several different women and try to find the heart rate on a Doppler. Just practicing on yourself is doesn't really count, because you practice on you and you know who you are. To be able to practice on other women is a lot more beneficial. But anyways, this video is getting long, so let's move on. I want to talk briefly about the fundus and about finding the fundus. There's a lot of debate in the cryptic pregnancy community that the uterus is so tilted that the fundus won't be able to be felt. Well, no matter how tilted your uterus is, you will always find a fundus. Always. So if you're not finding a fundus, you are not pregnant. If you are at least 40 weeks or more pregnant and you have still not found any kind of a fundus on the top here where you can feel the top of the uterus, you are not pregnant. Your uterus has to grow. Whether the baby is growing slow or not, it still has to grow. And by 16 weeks in a typical pregnancy or a standard pregnancy, you are able to feel that fundus pretty well. So by 40 weeks in a cryptic pregnancy, you should definitely feel a fundus. Even leading up to that, 32 weeks, 33 weeks, 34 weeks, you should feel a fundus. No fundus, no pregnancy. Okay, now to ultrasounds. An ultrasound is looking for, number one, a baby, but they are also looking for any signs of life as well, such as a placenta, a fetal pole, a sac, an umbilical cord, amniotic fluid, and a heartbeat. Even if baby is swimming away and trying to hide from the ultrasound wand, there's only so far the baby can go. Your organs stop the baby from being able to just swim wherever it wants. It's in a sac, and amniotic sac, Good job. In your belly? Good job. High five. Pounds it. Okay, go take your nap. Yes, please. Thank you. Your baby is in a sac. The amniotic sac. And so your organs literally prevent your baby from moving behind them. Your baby, it's literally not possible for your baby to go behind your intestines, one. But even so, if your baby did go behind your intestines and you were like, oh man, my baby's behind my intestines, and you went to have an ultrasound, the ultrasound machine would still be able to see your baby hiding behind your intestines. Let me repeat that again. Shh. Even if your baby was hiding behind your intestines or any organ in your body, the ultrasound machine will still be able to pick up the baby behind your intestines or any organ in your body. Because they are looking for any sign of life. If there is no placenta, no fetal pole, no sac, no amniotic fluid, no umbilical cord, no baby, you are not pregnant. There is only so many places a baby can hide from an ultrasound machine. No matter what, even if the baby did hide behind your intestines, the ultrasound machine would still pick up a placenta. It would still pick up amniotic fluid. It would still pick up an umbilical cord. And they could follow the umbilical cord behind the intestines where the baby's hiding. I'm just being silly, sorry. Okay, go play hide and seek, please, go. Bros, Mimis, can you please be quiet? Okay. Now let's get to the thing I have the most problem with. Is these women support the idea that a cryptic pregnancy women's experience, they will experience prodromal labor that lasts for months. This is what they say will happen in the cryptic pregnancy community, that women who are experiencing a cryptic pregnancy will experience false labor or preterm labor for months prior to giving birth. We're talking like 6 months, a year, 2 years. These are what women I've been in contact with have told me, that they have experienced early signs of labor for years prior to, or they're still experiencing it because none of the women I'm in contact with have actually given birth yet. So, still waiting. My major problem with this is because they give a list of signs and symptoms of this early stage cryptic pregnancy labor. And all of these signs and symptoms correlate. Yes. Go pee pee. Sorry. They give you a list of signs and symptoms of what a cryptic pregnancy preterm labor will be, and all these signs and symptoms correlate perfectly with the signs and symptoms of major illnesses and diseases, and that these major illnesses and diseases, if they're not diagnosed and treated promptly, they could result in, there's the other one, they could result in worsening of the condition or death, and it just becomes too much. Let me go get him. I'll be right back. What's your problem? So it is loosely investigated theories such as cryptic pregnancies that lead women down a path of desperation for answers that can be healed through what you eat, what you drink, and what you think. If you were to ask me honestly why these women are experiencing what they interpret as pregnancy, I would say this. I believe these symptoms are their physical body expressing its longing to reconnect to the soul. I believe the symptoms of cryptic pregnancy are physical manifestations of the body, mind, and soul needing to become one again. We are all energy beings, and if listened to, the physical symptoms will dissipate, and once you start to live in alignment with your heart and intuition, everything will make sense. So I encourage women who are experiencing a cryptic pregnancy to investigate further, to really get down to the nitty gritty and not be scared to ask themselves the real questions. Shh. To not be scared to ask themselves the real questions. Like, am I really pregnant? And maybe I did make this all up. And that's not as scary as you make it out to be. Once you are completely honest with yourself, you will find that it is a lot easier to just be you than to try to find answers to questions that, like, why does this happen? Why do cryptic pregnancies happen? I don't know. But I do know that it's your body screaming to pay attention to it. And it's your body screaming, please reconnect to me. And it's your body telling your mind and your soul that you are one and that you need to explore that a little more. So I invite you to do that. And if you got through this whole video, I salute you. And thank you. I'll be making another video here soon. Don't forget to like. Thank you. Bye.